week one offers a lot of opportunity to overreact, and that's why we have our pod, Overreaction Monday, where we appreciate everybody taking it in this week. And there's stuff to overreact to, but there's some stuff that I think you can kind of sense already with a reasonable amount of certainty. And that is the Kansas City Chiefs have a real shot at a three-peat. I said that going into the season. As a matter of fact, I chose to make that my Super Bowl prediction of this year, is that they will do it for the first time in our football lives as we're nearing Super Bowl 60. That's next year. Super Bowl LX. We're nearing it.
60.
It's about time for us to see a three-peat. And going into the season, I'm like, okay, they didn't lose their coaches. They lost L'Jarius Sneed, and that's about it. They got better. They got faster. They still have Mahomes. They still have Kelsey. They still have Chris Jones. And then week one happens. Now, again, I know they almost lost to the Ravens. Bottom line is they didn't. They didn't. And the Ravens, I think we can say with certainty, are a good football team. And as long as Lamar can still be Lamar and Derrick Henry will run better and this team will play better on both sides of the ball, they will have a shot to be a team to make my three-peat prediction errant. But looking at the rest of week one in its entirety in relation to the Chiefs, you remember going into the season, Chris, TJ, Mike, whenever he's paying attention?
I am.
We were saying, it's going to be a tough first month for him. It'll be a test.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, Chris, I think you might have used in an Overreaction Monday subject during the non-playing season, Chiefs are going to start 0-3. Now, you threw that out there just
that
for...
That was a post-schedule release.
Post-schedule release.
Yeah.
Which was mid-May. Yeah. Because they were starting with 2 home dates against the Ravens and Bengals and then Atlanta Falcons.
Looked like a tough start.
How does that look now?
Not great.
Which is my point.
I predicted 3-0.
I think that this
for the record,
past week, based on some of what we have seen, makes this three-peat opportunity look even more possible. Looking at their schedule. Because the Bengals might be a team to come in Arrowhead and pop the Chiefs in the mouth in January or early February anyway. But right now, week 2, not so much. Week 3, Atlanta, if they are going to have struggles like we saw on offense this past Sunday against the Chiefs, that's a problem. The Los Angeles Chargers, by week 4, will they have a passing game a little bit better than the one that we saw in week 1 against a Raiders team that had Crosby and Christian Wilkins? Now here comes Chris Jones and Karlaftis. You want to talk about a D-tackle, D-end combination of note? New Orleans on a Monday night coming into Arrowhead. They lit it up against the Panthers, but let's see what else. Now that week 7, the Super Bowl rematch in San Francisco. Oof. Oh, baby.
That's fun.
Now, I think that one is shaping. At Vegas, home for Tampa. I think that's a higher register one, right?
Yeah, that got a lot more interesting after week 1.
You just went higher register. Thank you, right on cue.
You're welcome.
Home for Denver. At Buffalo. At Carolina. Home for Vegas and the Chargers again. What about the Cleveland Browns, man?
By mid-December, who the hell knows?
Home for Houston. At Pittsburgh. At Denver. I'm not saying 17-0, clearly. But I'm saying that the way the Chiefs showed up in week 1, and again, I think they had a better game in week 1 this year than they did last year. The result was clearly different, but the offensive woes, the swoon, Who told us that the biggest challenge for the Chiefs? I think it was Richard Sherman. Boredom.
Agree.
And he said last year they looked bored. I don't know. They didn't look bored to me in week 1.
It looked fast.
You know what's exciting and not boring? Xavier Worthy. You know what's exciting and not boring? Isaiah Pacheco. Exciting and not boring. Mahomes and Kelsey, I think last year had some issues. Kelsey might have been banged up in a way that we were not fully familiar. But I'm looking at the Chiefs in week 1 coming out of the box in a way that, again, take a look at the teams that performed well in week 1, certainly on offense, certainly overall. Not much changes in Kansas City or San Francisco or Philadelphia or Detroit, right? Or Los Angeles for the Rams. You know, they don't have to, there's not a lot of, well, we haven't played together in a while type stuff. Or in the case of the Jets, ever, right? I'm taking a look at the way everyone came out of the box in week 1, and we were ascribing to them the improvements of last season, in the middle of last season, based on who they were in the previous 2 seasons, as standing in the Chiefs' way. I'm looking at them right now. I'm looking at a team that's going to be playing a home playoff game, if not 2 or maybe 3. They got a back pocket tiebreak on the Ravens already. They might have one on the Bengals by the end of the week. Tell me where I'm off.
It's just week 1.
I know.
I don't want to overreact or underreact to things, you know. This is an extended preseason, as we talked about
right.
The last couple of days. But, yeah, I mean, if you had to make a bet on who's going to be the 1 seed in the AFC, I would certainly place it on the Chiefs.
Right. Would you have done that prior to the kickoff, prior to week 1?
Yes. I'd picked Houston, but yeah, probably.
I mean, I've said this whole offseason. Like, as long as number 15 is alive and healthy and walking amongst us, they're that team. And like, and Rich, you said even if they start off hot, if they don't, they were 11 and 6 last year. We kind of thought, well, that's
the time to go get it.
And then guess what? They were just kind of keeping it in reserve till they had to hit the switch in the playoffs. They could do that again this year. They just got to get ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, they're big favorites to win the AFC even after week 1. They have half the odds of anyone else. Houston is second, Baltimore third.
Again, I don't pay attention to this stuff. Are those odds improved? Based on, I'm just trying to see if Vegas would agree with my assessment of things post week 1. Did those odds improve?
Oh yeah,
preseason to now.
Yeah, plus 280 to win the AFC. Houston and Baltimore plus 650. You know, so that's bet $1 to win $6.50.
So that's changed, is what I'm saying,
and
from 1 week from last week to this.
Yeah, and to be the 1 seed, they're plus 175, even better.
All right. I mean, I'm glad Vegas agrees with me.
Yeah.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.